Yeah, I mean, I haven't played it. I haven't. I think I watched one stream, which was Aries
Hmm.
doing it, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool, and I forgot about it entirely.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah, I've never played an Age of Empires game. It was just never my thing. More of a Civ guy. Anyway, we are going to be continuing our series here on Kaliningrad LE. We're in the bottom right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We have the blue Terran player coming out from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing Team NV. The captain of Team NV, he is Bunny.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Berlingrad LE, we have the Chinese Terran player. He is red, representing Kai Z Gaming. It is time.
The last of the Lee brothers that's still on Kai Z.
Yeah, all the others have fallen, mate.
But he's up against one of them here in Bunny. For context, back in the day we had Bunny, Innovation, and Time all on Kai Z Gaming. And in the Chinese scene, they called him like the Brotherhood of Lee Terrans or something like that.
Something like that. Unfortunately, those brothers have since been broken up. They've all gone their separate ways. But Time, he's still there. He's still on Kai Z. And yeah, a little bit of a different opener here. Time did open up with that double gas. Meanwhile, Bunny going for a more economic opener with that CC.
Yeah, I'm so curious as to what Time we'll be getting from this, because he is getting he is getting a reactor on that barracks, as well as a delayed supply depot. Fortunately, the placement of the SCV, the RNG, just was not in Time's favor. We'll lose an SCV right off the bat. Supply depot isn't that delayed, but you don't want to be down in workers in a mirror matchup.
You really don't. You really don't. We'll see what Time has in store for us as well, by the way. Again, he's delaying his CC by quite a lot, pumping out as many Reapers as he can, as well as, I imagine, some Hellions to just go across the map. Meanwhile, Bunny, he slips in and he will scout the opener.
And he sees a reactor on that barracks, so he immediately dips out.
Yeah.
Does not want to tangle with two Reapers versus one.
He's like, nah, mate, I want none of this. Let's zoom all the way back home, wait for, say, a Cyclone to come out or something else to help keep this Reaper alive. And yeah, Time eventually takes his own natural.
A little bit later, but no biggie. I mean, that's kind of the intention when going for this build. Watching the Hellion count get higher and higher, watching the Reaper count get higher and higher. There's only one bunker on the low ground for Bunny, so there's still a lot of potential for Time to deal some damage across the map.
Oh, yes.
Equalizing damage.
Yeah, like, he can do a couple of different things, right? He could either run past this bunker and just go straight for the natural mineral line. He could try and just dive up the Reaper cliff and go straight into the main base. We'll see as Time does pull the trigger, and he is going across the map with his 4 Reapers and 2 Hellions.
That's math. Ratios or something along those lines. Again, there's still potential for Time to dip forward, and he loses a single Hellion, but a very quick evacuation here from the side of Bunny. Is able to keep every single SCV alive. Yeah, Time has not been able to get much damage.
Yeah, no worker kills whatsoever. Bunny was so quick, so on point when it comes to pulling his boys away. Meanwhile, he does finally converge on this army, immediately takes down the second Hellion, and these Reapers, mate, they barely have any HP left.
Yeah, they're trying now to get some SCV kills. They do get one, but that is pretty much going to be it. I am so impressed with Bunny. He literally only lost one SCV and one Reaper in that defense. Time invested so much into getting damage done, but he got none of it, man.
Exactly.
What a shutdown from Bunny.
Look at the units lost here. The resources lost heavily in favor of Bunny, and with this advantage, immediately he throws down a 3rd CC.
Boy,
that's one way of doing
so
it.
much quicker. It absolutely is. Meanwhile, with his Ravens coming out, with his tanks, he could try to go across the map as well to go for a bit of an earlier push, but there's no pressure, right, for Bunny to do any of that.
Exactly. Like, one of two things could happen. We are on Berlingrad, so maybe Bunny could could have like thrown down some more production and gone for like a strong push on 2 bases, or gone for a faster third TC. And it looks like he is going for the more surefire thing, right? He wants to go for a little bit more of solid play, just get further and further ahead with his economy.
Yeah, he knows the onus is really on time to try to equalize economically.
Yeah, that he
so might as well not do his job for him.
Exactly, right? Meanwhile, time is even ready for some kind of harassment, whether it's a Banshee or some kind of drop diving into the main base. So again, lucky that Bunny opted not to go for any of that. I may be speaking too soon. Okay, never mind. I was like, yo, is the Raven really going to go for like a bit of like auto turret harass? Thankfully, the scan actually spots the Raven patrolling here of time.
And a Raven as well as that Cyclone. So Bunny repositions, pushes out. He's got 2 Ravens and he wants to use them.
Yeah, and this is, for me, a questionable position for these tanks. It's interesting, right? Like, sure, it's covering the ramp, I guess, but they also feel so exposed. I don't know.
Well, the Marines aren't too far behind, so they can collapse. Yep, just like that. They can collapse the top of the army if Bunny tried to go throw down a couple of auto turrets or anything like that.
Oh, God. Meanwhile, they have to be so careful. Finally, both armies do spot each other, and Bunny is the first to siege. Ooh.
He is the first to siege, but also the first to get disabled. A couple of auto turrets get thrown down, but time with that ramp advantage will shell away at everything Bunny has. What a complete shutdown.
Yeah, exactly. Bunny opting to go for the auto turrets instead of the disable just completely gets shut down, as you said. The entire army of Bunny just falling apart, and now he is on the defensive.
He's only got 1 tank. Thankfully, he did keep both of the Ravens alive, but it will take a little bit of time for them to get the energy back up. Fortunately, Ravens cannot suck on youth juice.
Unfortunately, they cannot suck on the youth. Meanwhile, time, he's rotating around towards the north. It looks like he's trying to find another way up the ramp here, and unfortunately, Bunny isn't in the best position. He will get up the ramp.
Yeah, he scouts it now, but it's going to take a while for him to reposition his tanks. Thankfully, he does have another tank coming down from the high ground. Time will deal with the majority of Bunny's tanks.
Oh, God.
And honestly, the Marine count is starting to get thinned out here for time. The Vikings could land and auto turrets could be thrown down as well to completely clean this out. Yeah! What a back and forth.
Exactly, like that was looking so terrible for Bunny because of Time's position, because of his massive tank advantage. But as you pointed out earlier, those Ravens surviving from earlier was so important because it allowed all those auto turrets to be thrown down here in the defense, and with the additional Vikings, Bunny cleans it all up.
They did lose a couple of SCVs in that defense though, so Time will be able to even things out, but not for too much longer, as he's still going to take... His SCV production is still taking a bit of a hit. He's only now switching that CC into an orbital, but he has not skipped a beat when it comes to worker production.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things where, like, Bunny could afford to pull a couple of boys because of his much faster third CC, right? Like, he's still... And even despite losing those workers, he still maintains that economic advantage.
Jesus. I look away from the worker count and then I look back. Like, I look at the worker count and it's like, oh, okay, Bunny has like 2 more SCVs, that's it. I look back a second later and it's like, Bunny has 5 more SCVs, Bunny has 7 more SCVs. Ah, Jesus.
Yeah, it's brutal, mate. And to get on top of that even more, we have the 4th CC on the way here for Bunny. Meanwhile, Time, his is nowhere in sight, still focusing on his defenses because he just lost every single tank. So he was terrified of a counterattack. So he was just focusing everything on his army. And there was no counterattack. Now he realizes, and now we see that 4th CC.
Yeah, but quite a bit later than Bunny's as well. It's pretty much been the story of this game.
Yeah, pretty much. But as we've seen, like, even though we have like slight leads in the economy for either player, like, it still does come down to those big fights.
Really does. Comes down to the tanks, how well they're positioned, how many Vikings there are in the sky to actually utilize the Ranger tanks as well. Time is running away with the Viking count, but it is Bunny we're talking about. He is typically a player who will neglect the Vikings for a little bit so that he can get couple more medevacs to try to go for some harass or do some fancy micro plays.
Yeah, we'll see if the earlier medevacs will really come into play here. Like, it does mean that Time has a massive advantage when it comes to the Viking count. 10 Vikings for Time as opposed to the 6 for Bunny. So, yeah, Bunny has to be careful here with how he wants to use these medevacs if he wants to go for a drop. Instead, he stims forward.
Yeah, the tanks are looking a little bit exposed, but the Marines aren't too far behind. They do converge on top of the army of Bunny. Time really utilizing his air dominance to chip away at these tanks, but a scan will even things out for a little bit for Bunny.
Yeah, that was brutal, and now Bunny is forced back. He lost... Oh, no!
Almost lost pathing.
Yeah, some awkward pathing there. But, like, Bunny, he lost all his Vikings again. Like, and he's not making any more, by the way. He's making more medevacs, so he's just completely giving up on that air superiority.
Yeah, there is a theory when it comes to TvT where sometimes... Because there is definitely a very real possibility of over-making Vikings, right? So there is a theory that says, well, just go mass Marines and don't worry too much about the air superiority. Get to a point where you can brute force your way forward, right? Because you'll have that much more ground army. So I guess you split decently well against your opponent's tanks, but we're not getting to that point yet. We are still at the point where Time has more than enough defenses to deflect Bunny each time.
Exactly, and the problem is that Time isn't tunnel visioning. Like, we already have the first Liberator here. Because we have all these Vikings, Liberators change everything in this dynamic. Thankfully for Bunny, it is only one Liberator. Like, I don't know what happened, but there we go. 2 more starports are being thrown down. Time wants to go into the more Liberator-heavy composition.
Yeah, but 2 more starports did also get thrown down for Bunny, so he does want to completely switch his army composition. He picks up a tank here and there every time they expose themselves and doesn't overcommit to the fight either. That's what's really been impressing me about Bunny so far.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job at containing his opponent because you know what? Bunny, he double expanded. He took a 4th base and he's getting a 5th on location. Time still stuck on 3 bases. So Bunny, he's trying to just, again, overwhelm, just like swarm his opponent with pure bio. He also has the upgrade advantage, 2-2 compared to the 1-1 of Time. But Bunny actually backs off. Oh my god, this is a pretty massive run by here from Time.
It's a pretty massive run by, but there are also 4 tanks available right now for Bunny. Time needs to avoid those tanks for as long as possible. This orbital command will go down, but as he was saying, Bunny already has 5 bases up, so not the biggest of deals, honestly.
Yeah, like, was this worth it in the end? Because Time just threw away every single one of his Marines. The medevacs survived, but there's nothing left for them to heal. Sure, he got a CC, but we got another base anyway. Look at this, look at the soup, man.
Yeah, the best thing I could really say about that move is that now Time can finally land his 4th base.
Sure.
Kind of.
Is that worth it though?
It's still a very exposed location for a 4th base.
I mean, it gets scanned. Bunny knows. He knows about the 4th, and now he's going to go and deny it.
Rotates so quickly, and this is an even more compromised position than earlier on. It's on the high ground.
And Time sees this. He is late to respond. Finally, he's rotating his army around, but this is a little bit too late. The tanks of Bunny have already sieged up.
It already very entrenched. The CC will go down. 14 SCVs as well. And now Bunny, I mean, he doesn't have to commit to pushing in, because now it's really on Time to, again, not starve to death.
Yeah, he is in an awful position. He has to, yeah, I was about to say he has to lift up his main base. He has to try and take a 4th base, whatever it takes. But he's in such a rough position because he lost all those Marines. Like, he's struggling to really engage head on with Bunny's army. And Bunny, he's just rotating back around towards the south.
I just didn't realize Bunny has 11 tanks. To be fair, Time has 10, but it's just a little odd to see when it's biotech versus biotank.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, this is what I was worried about. We have a drop of Marines here. The main base cannot land. He cannot take a 4th base. Meanwhile, ooh, the tanks are looking a little bit exposed. You see a couple of disables.
Yeah, but not much beyond that. Does force the tanks to siege up, I suppose, which is something. And the 3rd base, or pseudo 3rd base, the main base that was floating down just cannot land. And now Bunny is doing Bunny things, dropping back and forth wherever he can, just trying to pull apart Time's attention and Time's army.
You say trying, I say succeeding, mate. He is.
Yeah.
Time, oh my god, he sieges up, but it's a little bit too late. The Marines, they dive on top of almost every single tank.
Just about half of them. That's what happens when the Marines are having to deal with drops back at home, and that's what happens when you have this many Vikings, but can't actually utilize them.
Exactly, the Vikings, they do nothing. Sure, they do provide some air some air vision there for the tanks. Time does take out a couple of the tanks of Bunny, but again, he's really struggling to get another base up and running. The third base was forced to be lifted up. We had the drop in the main, workers going down left and right, and now Time is all in.
Yeah, it does find a little bit of an opening though, where Bunny's army isn't located, but look at how many tanks are here. Already sieged up. Bunny, it's almost like he can see into the future. He knows exactly how Time wants to counterattack. Speaking of Time's counterattack, massive sandwich on top of the forces of Bunny. Messes around as well. So many disables on top of those tanks, but now those Ravens are out of energy, and Bunny still has the defensive tanks. Mind you,
and he still
Time has to push.
He still has the supply as well. Like, despite losing that army in the middle of the map, there's still so much at home to defend. Finally, that one Liberator is coming into play, but it does get disabled immediately by those Ravens. In come the Marines. There's nothing left for Time, and Bunny takes the game.
GG. Well played. So active on the map, applying so much pressure to contain Time. That was one of the longer games that we've had, but there was something happening from minute 1 to minute 16.
That was insane. GG, well played. Congratulations to Bunny for taking the first game. But again, that is still only the first game. There's still a chance here for his opponent.
There's Ian. Okay, Ian. I got Bunny.
Okay, I got Time.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh god, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, one after the other. Bronze greater than GM confirmed.
Confirmed, mate.
I don't think the viewers are able to see the lobby here, but yeah, Bunny for whatever reason has a bronze portrait. Right to Times GM.
Yeah. It's I mean, you know, they typically ladder on barcodes, not on their named accounts.
But I mean, you literally just play one game, right? And you're out of bronze. I don't think there are any players who are still in bronze, except for those are sort of games. But that is neither here nor there. We are going to be continuing our TvT here on Hotwire LE. We're in the top right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner. The red Terran player coming down from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing Team NV. The captain of Team NV, he is Bunny.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the Chinese Terran player. He is blue, representing Kai Z Gaming. They switch colors?
They did.
It is time. Oh.
SMH my head.
Ah.
Oh. 2 racks.
Yeah, very cheeky opener here from Time. I agree with this. I feel like if we learned anything from game 1, it's that Bunny does have like the better overall, like he's the more solid player.
Yeah.
He was just all over.
Long enough, yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. So Time wants to get an advantage early on.
Will he get it though? Because again, just based on game number 1, despite how the openings played out, Bunny was still able to deflect the aggression coming up from Time each and every time the SCV goes in. I don't think it's gonna see the second back. So no, it does. No, it does. No, it does.
Wow, the SCV scout sees everything. Unfortunately, Time was not here in time to wall off and deny any kind of scout. So now Bunny is well aware, and he should keep his Reaper at home.
You say should.
This is a bold move, man.
Well, it's supposed to be that Reaper in the middle of the map, I suppose. Which, I mean, I can kind of get the logic behind this, right? He comes back.
Yeah, he wants to protect his SCV, and he shoots first.
He does. Chases away this Reaper. I can kind of understand the logic behind moving up across the map with the Reaper, right? You don't want to wait back home for time to regroup with 2 Reapers. You want to do whatever you can. But So you're saying it's a bold move regardless.
Yeah, that it is. Meanwhile, the bunker is on the way. Again, Bunny has to do whatever he can to keep this SCV alive and keep the bunker alive.
He's trying! It will go down, but funnily enough, the CC SCV will be able to finish that bunker and get back to building the CC without too much trouble. Oh, it is going to be awkward to get on top of.
Yeah, exactly. The Hellion shows up with this. Bunny should be perfectly fine. The Reapers of Bunny are going, of Time are going down one after the other.
Deflected.
Oh, yeah, all 3 Reapers go down. And the thing is, Time is not stopping Reaper production.
He is not at all. Getting a couple of Hellions as well to support this, which there's potential, but I feel like after losing the initial Reapers, a lot of the momentum has just been taken out. A lot of the wind has been knocked out of Time's sails, but there's a bit of a timing. Buddy is working on his add-ons. He will not quite be able to get any more defenses out for a little while.
Yeah, for a little bit here. I mean, the problem is that, I mean, we have a Cyclone on the way. We have a couple of Marines as well filling up that bunker. Oh god, like Time, he is just doubled down with this. More Reapers, by the way. We have a medevac, so he can just drop into the main base with the Hellions. Oh no. Okay.
Let's pick up the Hellion. But yeah, it kind of feels like, it almost feels like Time is a little flustered. Game 1 and so far the opening in Game 2 as well.
Yeah, like he just wants to straight up end it, and it looks like he can maybe find a way up into the main base. Bunny being so greedy, throwing down a 3rd CC before before Time even finishes his natural.
Yeah, moving down with his army as well. The Cyclone actually locked onto the Reapers, so they weren't able to deflect the medevac. There's a bit of an opportunity here for Time, especially with the Hellions getting in position. But most of the Reapers get taken out. Now we have the even a Veil with an auto turret available.
That we do. The auto turret gets thrown down, but it just zones away the Hellions and the Reapers. At least the 3rd CC is being delayed. A couple of SCVs went down, but it looks like Time doesn't have enough to keep pushing forward. The tank comes out.
And it will just about be the final nail in the coffin when it comes to this drop. That's it. Time has been able to do a little bit of damage. He has been able to force a lot of lost mining time out here from Bunny, so yeah, he is making things work somewhat.
Yeah, and he delays the SCV, or he delays the CC once again here. So again, Time just doing whatever he can to slow down his opponents because of Bunny's greed, just sheer greed. And yeah, he got 4 kills. He got 4 SCVs.
Yeah, 4 SCVs, that Cyclone, delays the 3rd base for so long. So it's a lot of lost mining time. Now he's looking to follow this up. Time has been, Bunny, has been supply capped for a while. So once again, just going to be difficult for him to get defenses up.
Yeah, it really will. We'll see what the plan is here from Time. I do love that as a response, after seeing the greed from his opponent, he throws down his own 3rd CC. He wants to meet that greed, so it looks like he wants to get into the mid game, just like his opponent, at a more even footing. And, maybe even get a little bit more damage done in the process as he's going for another double drop.
Not just a double drop, but a double drop with 2 tanks. There's even a single opening here. Time is going to go for it, and it's going to be devastating. But Bunny already has a lot of tanks in his own base, already getting into position.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? Time is the first to respond here. He does siege up. He does shell away at the 3rd CC, but we see it disable.
And an auto turret, so again, Bunny is not going to take any damage here.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting that the disable maintains inside the medevac like that, and you drop it instantly.
Oh yeah, of course it does.
Yeah, you don't see that too often. Yeah. But we do see Time repositioning here, and Bunny doesn't necessarily have the army to stop this. Yeah,
he really doesn't.
Oh god, it's getting low. Mate, he wants
to be taken out. 1 stim forward is all Time needs, and just like that, he's taking a base advantage. Really starting to turn the tables. Bunny, I think, is the one who's just going to be starved out throughout the game.
We will see what he does here. And oh, he decides to throw down or rebuild that third CC. He may be forced to double expand from this position. Now the onus is on Bunny. He needs to go for a counterattack. He needs to try and stem the economy of time.
But how is he going to do it? Is it? Well, medevacs. I mean, it's Bunny we're talking about. Of course, it's going to be drops of medevacs.
Yeah, we have 2 medevacs on the way here, so maybe he can try and make something happen. At the same time, though, Time does have a pretty formidable force here in the center of the map, looking to try and deal more damage, contain his opponent to 2 bases.
I feel like with the color switch, we also got a dynamic switch coming out here.
Yeah, maybe there's just something about the blue mate. Oh god, just Bunny has no eyes on this. The army repositions honestly in a pretty good place, and he is able to siege up.
Just like so. It's gonna be a little difficult for the Marines, I think,
CC,
to break
mate.
through here. But it takes our in position to shell away the CC, as you point out there.
Jesus Christ, down to half health. Meanwhile, Bunny, now it's his turn to pull the trigger. He wants to try and shut this down, and it looks like he will at least get 1 tank, and a medevac as well.
Yeah, tank and medevac, and really start putting Time on the back foot. He is oversimming his Marines, though, or starting to oversim his Marines, but thankfully he backs away. He just wanted to break that contain and get a free tank.
Yeah, and he was able to. Finally, he gets his third up and running, but look at the worker disparity here. He is so far behind. He still has a decent army, though. A stronger, a much larger army compared to his opponent, so maybe he can make something happen.
Well, he's looking to make something happen. He does have the upgrade advantage for now. Time just about going to be able to equalize that. And you're saying +1 ship weapons. Ship weapons, vehicle weapons.
Interesting. We'll see how that works out for him. Meanwhile, Bunny finds a couple of free Marines here and there. He actually kind of outpositions Time a little bit here. But unlike Time, Bunny should not get a kill on this CC.
Yeah, it does force a lift, does force a couple of repairs, but not much beyond that.
Yeah, and honestly, this is great here from Bunny. Like, no mining at all here at the third. Like, this is what he needed to do. Sure, he's not killing the base, but denying all this mining, the base may as well be dead.
Pretty much. What happened to Bunny's third?
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Yeah, just look at the minimap and suddenly
it died.
It's like not mining there. What?
Well, I didn't. Sorry, we didn't even notice apparently there was maybe a drop across the map, but it's dead.
Wow. All right then. Well, that just means that Bunny has to be even more committed to dealing some damage here and making sure that that third base never mines.
Oh my god.
He's going for a massive doom drop. He's going for a massive doom drop. He's going for a massive doom drop.
He is. He goes for the doom drop, and Time was not expecting this whatsoever. He's even supply blocked right now, so nothing is going to come out of the production.
Nothing at all, mate. All of these tanks siege up. It's such a good position. Time has to make a decision. Fight this or go across the map and end it.
He doesn't go across the map, mate. Oh my god, he's a deer in headlights right now as all the production's going down. The engineering base as well.
No 2-2 is going to come out at all for Time here. Oh man, and this is the damage that Bunny needed to do after getting denied his third base for so long. Finally, the Marines are starting to move across the map right now for Time, for Paynon, but are there defenses up for Bunny, actually? That's what I want to know.
There's
one
a
tank,
tank.
it's not siege, just 2 tanks, okay.
Yeah, the tanks are not sieged here. Meanwhile, it looks like this has been revealed, so Bunny is aware, but the Marines are coming in, and they're going to be able to get on top of the tank. Oh no, they do not. Hot pickup.
You're on top of 1 tank that will siege up, but on the high ground there are 2 tanks. Once again, this third base is going to fall.
Jesus Christ. For the 3rd time this game, the CC is going to go down. Or will it? Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, it looks like Time is regaining control of his own main base.
Somewhat. He has lost a lot of production. But Bunny has basically lost his entire economy, so it kind of evens out.
Yeah, the production is being remade. Time, he's just expanding over to the right-hand side of the map. Decent disables here. Can Bunny capitalize on that? It looks like he's going to be able to take a couple of these tanks down.
I'll say amazing disables. That's just about every single tank, but Bunny doesn't target fire. Now he does.
And with that, all the tanks do fall. Meanwhile, Time is coming back home. He realized that he cannot break the main base of Bunny. And now, because of that, Time actually has no more tanks left.
He doesn't. He only has Marines. And honestly, Bunny has double the army supply of Time. He still has more Marines, funnily enough. But keep in mind, a lot of them are back at home.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, now finally the first tank comes out. The tanks are on siege. The army of Time is trying to close the distance.
Oh, but it was such a good anti-armor missile. So many tanks are starting to siege up on the high ground, but Time does pull away just at the last second. Doesn't unnecessarily lose his Marines. I'm just keeping my eyes on the defensive force of Bunny. Once he decides to move across the map with them, I feel like that's really going to be lights out for Time, but let's keep them at home for now. Now he's moving out.
He's pulling the trigger, mate. The rest of the army is going to be converging across the map, and Time just doesn't have enough. He's heavily supply blocked. He's making eight supply depots at a time right now to try and break out of this, and this is all he has left. Again, unfortunately, Time, he was a little bit too slow to pull the trigger on the base trade. It took him like a minute to really kind of realize what was happening and kind of come to a decision, and as a result, Bunny was so far ahead in that base trade.
And he's still ahead, mate. Now both players are down to 2 bases. But Bunny can continue to chip away at this, can continue to take out the production. The armies miss each other, no!
Oh god, these tanks are so exposed as well. The SCVs all go down. And if Bunny wanted to, he could probably just drop a group of Marines on top of these tanks. Meanwhile, Time, for a moment there, he did turn around and it looks like he may want to try and converge. GG gets called!
Bunny takes that series 2-0. Never a dull moment in a TvT with Bunny involved. Bunny and Time, I should say. But yeah, I feel like especially with Bunny because of how not just drop heavy he is, but also how decisive he is, right? Pulling the trigger on that Doom drop and then saying, alright, we're going base straight mode. I know exactly what I want to do.
Exactly, mate. Like, again, it just shows the experience that Bunny has. You know, he's been a pro player for much longer than Time has, and as a result, like, he just knew exactly what he wanted there. Meanwhile, Time, it took him a little bit there to really recalibrate himself and figure out what he wanted to do here, what the situation was looking like, and in that moment of indecisiveness, that is where Bunny really, that's the difference between Time and Bunny.
Yeah, exactly.
Despite Time being so far, like, despite him killing that CC 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Massive lead there, but kind of feels like it was one of those situations where after Bunny lost the second time, he said, all right, gloves are off. Let's go. I know exactly what I need to do now. I can focus entirely on my army. And I have to, because that's the only way I can turn this game around. And he did turn that game around. Oh, my lord. Well played. Meanwhile, as we were having our 2-game series, DRG and Björn, or DRG and Trap are still in game number 2 for 30 minutes. Björn and Ragnarok are still in game number 1.